Once again, we are back today on Friday, the 15th of July, 2022, and we have a myriad of topics that we are going to discuss, specifically Gambia and other dimensions internationally, regionally, and from economy to politics to social, and the challenges that the country is facing, and the successes of the country, of the current president, President Barrow's second term, from the first time to second term. And once again, greetings to all of you, wherever you are. And we are glad to be here with you to give you one of the best platform in terms of analysis. And we have Gambians' finest today to discuss issues, different issues, the cross section of issues, that affect our country. Once again, this is a man that we all know. His energy is undoubtedly one of the best wherever he is getting that energy to come up and educate the country most of the time. But the most important thing about this special man is he's always acting as a gel to hold our societies together. And this is important for the progress of the society, because anything that we should all do is to come together, because we are like unique in the whole world, the Gambia, so nobody can divide us. Even though a lot of people does try to divide us, but they will fail. But one man that persistently, and consistently want to bring us together, a man of uncommon wisdom and decency. And once again, we will have to welcome this special man, Brother Ben Suwareh. Welcome to you to Gunjur Online.
Thank you very much, Ebrima. Thank you very much for inviting me again. It's always a pleasure to come on your platform and to engage in a discussion that is fruitful. And you always help to get things out of me that at times I don't know that I know them, or I have it in me, or I forgot about them. But what I like about you is you do your research and to bring topics which are very relevant. Every topic is relevant, but very relevant, and that's why I love. To come on your platform. It's always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of Gunjur Online, we are humble, Mr. Suwareh. We have to acknowledge, your persistency to see better in the Gambia. And as a media person, I have a lot of information. I don't just want to come and divulge those things to you, but these are things that people appreciate, and we have to appreciate people's effort. On top of all your schedules, and you are coming, so that a lot of people are getting educated from this, especially the historical tour de force that you do. Most of us didn't understand those, or we didn't get into politics those times to understand the dynamics. So to see you coming and relating those yesterday, and today together, and we can learn a lot from these things. Personally, that is because if you don't know your history, you're going to fail, because you're not going to learn. You will going to remain a child all the time. So this is what is so important about that. Brother Ben, and we saw that the former NIA director and 5 others were found guilty. And most of those celebrate this, but without not analyzing the compendium of the whole Janneh era. So we just pick one thing and celebrate as always. But you, as a unique person, a unique mind, all the time give another perspective to this, because no matter how we can celebrate this, the durations and all those things, but there is a lot of dimension, and only these ones alone cannot kind of leveling things in for us to move as a country. And you call it a partial justice at last for Solo Sandeng and his comrade. I underline partial. Why partial? Why partial?
Okay. Again, we are going to continue to pray, especially this Friday, for Solo Setting and all his comrades that have gone and been murdered and gone to heaven by now. We have that hope, and we keep on praying to Allah, to make that a reality. And for the ones that his comrades that he left out here, who are still suffering and have not been taken care of by the state, and all in the others that fought this dictatorship or become a victim of the dictatorship, and Gambia as an extension. Ebrima, the verdict we have, we all welcome the verdict, but it's a partial justice. Sulayman did not just die as an innocent person walking around the streets. He went out there for a cause. I know some people will say that he died for UDP, but I'll tell you that's not true. Do you know why? Because I know the people who were behind working with Sulayman to happen. UDP know nothing about this.
Yes.
Some members might know, but as an executive or giving it a blessing, never. Because of the gentleman believe in the cause he went out for, people that he went out with, we cannot deduct anything out of that. I mean, if we try to relate that to anything else, we are trying to undermine and disrespect the life that they gave out there. I said they, because Solo died in the hands of the police, but the others too died in the hands of the police later on because of the injuries what been inflicted. Now, Solo dead is not the only reason. He went out there for a cause, isn't it? Now, if we don't achieve that cause, did we have justice?
No.
Solo and Solo's family, because if we don't achieve that, I tell you, the memory of Solo can easily be forgotten. But if we achieve it, we can relate this the struggle to, Solo's struggle to what we have achieved. Now, and even achieving the legal aspect of reforms, electoral reforms, that's not enough. The electoral reforms he fought for was to have a level playing field, but for something else, which is the salvation of the country, so that the country can be rebuilt, so the country can be right. Now, if we are looking for justice, then the justice we're asking for after defeating the dictator, what we should do is to make sure the death of Solo did not just Solo being murdered would not just go in vain. It would speak for Solo and everybody else that fight, that died, that sweat, that bled, and Gambians that even that stood against should be welcome to celebrate a new Gambia. Until we fix that Gambia and a new Gambia, what we have is partial justice. What about the surviving victims? Even those who were with Solo, do they have? Are they treated yet? No. Are they? Do you know how much they've given for reparation? No, nothing substantial. Is that justice? That's why I said we have partial justice. Gambians want more than what's been given. This is just part of the justice we fought for. But not only this prosecution, but prosecution of any other person that have acted in one way or the other in bringing the country into disrepute. And we are calling for the most responsible. We know that entire enablers cannot be. But from the people that were in the justice ministry, that were providing the legislation, we cannot. You see, we have to. If we don't address this properly, it's bound to happen again. That's why it's still happening. Some people are not killed yet, but we can even say people are killed in Faraba. All this because we didn't have the reforms. That's why I said the death of Solo and the verdict, yes, we welcome that. But not only that we want something meaningful, something that Solo went out for. We want to achieve that.
Thank you, Ben. And Ben, another controversial one, the Justice Ministry. There's no reform there, and you call them by the name, and the police also, and nothing happened, because we will come to see what is happening to the Korosis sisters and myriad of other things, the 3-year judges, what happened to them.
What happened at Lawyer Dabo's compound?
Lawyer Dabo's compound.
And the Inspector General going to the Parliament to justify the act. Do you know if we have reforms that should not happen, that will not have happened?
Yes.
And numerous other cases. All these cases happening today should not have happened if we had the reforms we have. The Justice Department is still doing exactly what they did for Janneh. Are we happy with that? Now, to say that few people are punished That's enough. Do we hear anything done about the white paper? They are starting to come out and say they don't have the money, but they have money to spend on buying new vehicles, to spend on doing other things. You see, until Gambians realize that we have to hold politicians to account, to make sure they deliver. This is a demand. It's our government. We put them in power, regardless whether we vote for them or not. We took part in the process. We pay our taxes. It's our country. This is what Gambians should always remember. If they fail to deliver, it's not only elections that should take them out there. We have seen it's in democratic means. There are so many ways in democratic means to take them out there. But if we are not proactive, we lose our democracy, and that's when we get destabilized. That's what I am trying to avoid. You see, smart people do things sustainable to avoid destabilization. When you think the conservative wanted to just to take care out of their prime minister, they know it's not sustainable. They have lost 2 by-elections. They know he's a liar. They were supporting him, but when they started to feel the pinch, they lost 2 by-elections, and they realized that this guy cannot be meant. They did something about it to avoid complete chaos. Why can't we be smart to do things before it gets really bad?
Yeah, before get really really bad, and none of us want to be in that situation, because you might be in the West or anywhere and you think you are safe, but 99% of who you are, your investments, your family, is all there, and so those are things that, and we will come to some of the destabilized places and the security challenge that the region is having, and this might have an impact in the Gambia. Ben, you call for us to be vigilant, and just we have to demand things. Yeah. We cannot let the TRRC just vanish into thin air just like that. And you call for electoral reform, and you used and the proceeds of Janneh that many people don't know, that 15 million that is donated for victims, and that 15 million also vanished, and nobody is kind of talking about it. And as you said, if we don't do anything about Solo, in few years' time, because Solo's memory is making some people very guilty. So if people don't talk about it, maybe that will, because you're asking for monuments and something like that. And our curriculum need to change. It has to reflect what is happening in the Gambia since 1965, even before that, what the struggles that we do and all those things today. And that cannot come without civic education. Now you also say the uniting, how we can be united, and we can chase after the hidden money that is all over the place. Also, Janneh's money, Amadou Samba. Nobody is even talking about Amadou Samba now, other than you yourself. Brother Ben, contextualize these things, because these are at the heart of our stability as a country. If we don't address these things, even though I don't have any knowledge in terms of security and all those, but I see the other countries that are being destabilized with lesser issues. Let me give you a perspective here. You see, one thing we have to remember as Gambians, because we easily forget history. Let me give you an example. Why do you think Germany prospered after the Second World War? They went through a transition. They did the right thing. Germany makes sure they have a Marshall Plan, because it was important, because the cause of this thing might be white supremacy, but what gave this white supremacist power was because of the economic conditions. That was, Hitler became appealing because of his advocacy, because of that trying times. They had a Marshall Plan. 2, Germany made sure that any person, wholly responsible, have been tried. Even today, they are trying people for what had happened. 3, they have monuments and they have laws, even to not to deny the Holocaust. They have laws to fight the supremacists. They have monuments. They have programs. But one thing is the education. They went and made sure they redraw their books and educated Germans to be accepting
Germans to be forward-looking, and that's what brought them the stability. Ukraine right now, have you not seen them already? Even within the war, they're opening trials to try the people they held responsible. But again, last few weeks ago, they had a Marshall Plan forum thinking of rebuilding. They have not finished the war yet, but already they're talking of $750 billion to rebuild the country. You see, you have to look forward, you have to be proactive. In the sense of Gambia, we have to understand that what happened to is a sense of loss of history. We have a lot of troubles because of people don't know their history. I keep on challenging Gambians. I ask them things they don't even know. They don't even know their family tree. And some don't even know the history of anything because of the history curriculum we have is FK Bois and other history books which talks more about West Africa and other things or civilizations that does not impact on us anymore. But the Gambia history, political history, should be taught to every student before they leave school. Compulsory. That's from 1950 to 1994. And current affairs should be put in part of our civic education so that people can take interest in knowing what's in the news, to understand how news come about and to how to digest news. This is important. You see, if we don't understand the news, how do we get information? And most information should come through the news. If we don't understand what is news or how to verify information, how are we not going to fall for false news and everything else? And remember that what the dictator did is he was doing something called re-engineering the Gambian society. And imagine the biggest demographic of our population are youths. And if you define youth from 35 years down, now you are telling me that even those 35 years did not know anything when by 1994. They were under 15.
Yes.
Now, all they know is about Janneh. Did they know about the First Republic and so on? No, they did not know that. If you don't teach them history, if they don't know about how we became independent, because if you understand how we became independent, now you can even understand some of the fault line that created this tribal politics, fault line that created politics of opportunism, fault line that created regionalization. You see, fault line that started some sort of religious intolerance. You see, these things are important for people to know. And when they know this, they will not fall for it. Now, the re-engineering program of Yahya Jammeh, do you know how many books are written about Yahya in that period? So many books. And the programs he does, the entire thing that happens in GRTS, especially before social media, everything, information the Gambians had was coming from GRTS. They even censor the international news. They will not put in anything that would expose Gambians. This is like what was happening in North Korea. You see, and every other program, every other school was having parties. Yahya Jammeh was giving them money for party. You know, all the thing was indoctrinating the youth. Yahya Jammeh was bringing musicians, reggae musicians, Senegalese musicians, Nigerian actresses. Everything is about drawing it around himself. Every religious leader or anyone prominent was associated to him. Remember the small sheikh when that guy's he brought him in. Yeah. You know, people associate this to Yahya Jammeh. Yahya Jammeh brought him.
Farrakhan came. You know,
Farrakhan orders. And what's his other name? The latest one.
Zagreb something. Zagreb Mike or whatever.
Yeah. And you know, and you know how youths have this love for Zakir Naik in the Gambia, for Farrakhan, for all these people. And that will translate to accepting Yahya, because if someone I look up to accepted Yahya and tell me that Yahya is a good Muslim, Yahya is a good person, what it does? The Supreme Islamic Council was controlled in that man. Everything else was controlled. Now, don't we need to educate the Gambians to understand what actually happened? Now, it's important for them to know how we became a nation. how our democracy was built, and understand the fault lines we had in 1981. How many people are distorting what happened in 1981? Telling you that thousands of people died. Telling the Gambia government was responsible. You see, I mean, what happened in 1994? Is it very clear? No. Most people have, what they remember about the TRRC is the revealing stuff, but not to the TRRC itself. That's why I said need to go into curriculum so that people can digest to understand the report properly. These things are important. If we fail to do this, we are in trouble, because of the bulk of the youths are the voters. And if they are not informed, they will keep on running around politicians, and they will not be conscious to bring about change. Nobody can bring about change in that country without the support of the youth. And that's why we need those youths to be re-educated, so that they will be patriotic. They will not be fighting because of tribal this thing. They will not fighting because of regional alliances. They will not fighting for anything else. They will nurture patriotism in them, and to be law-abiding and all these things. That's why history is important. That's why civics is important. I mean, civic education is important. Now, let's come to the bigger picture here. All these things are important. But do you realize the role poverty played in making these things happen? When Yahya Jammeh came, how did he appeal to the people? That you people are poor.
Yes.
You people have been taken advantage of. Corruption is not rampant. I am going to bring salvation for you people. This is what appealing to them. Right now, let me give you a politician who is doing that and got appeal. Sonko. Sonko have appealed because of his exposing corruption and telling them that the oil wealth in Senegal and the mineral wealth in Senegal is enough for them to transform their lives. Now, if you are struggling and you listen to him with an open mind, would you not support him?
You will. You will.
Because he is telling you something the president is not even telling you, or nobody else. And he's exposing something, and you see facts. And this is how Yahya Jammeh played it up. You see, most of these things happen because of, again, poverty. Now, let's look at these things. We ask ourselves, why is this government not going after do you know how much wealth Yahya Jammeh have outside the Gambia?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I know of Amadou Samba, 9-something billion that come to the yes.
Now, I'll come to that. Now, if I say that Yahya Jammeh might have over $500 million, do you think that's an exaggeration?
No.
Thank you. Okay, and I'll quantify this. I'll tell you how this happened. Amadou Samba had in his account nearly $1 billion. Tell me anywhere in the Gambia a business from 1994, because by 1994, Amadou Samba was still, people think he owned the Gassem. He did not own Gassem by that time. Amadou Samba did not owe much by 1994. He was hustling, he was going through overdraft and everything else. Now, how can you have $1 billion where we don't have a stock market? You don't trade in anything else if everything was legitimate. And
you don't need that. That's your disposable income. That is hidden somewhere.
This is not even cash flow or assets or anything. Dollars. How many companies in here, UK, would tell you they have deposits of $1 billion?
No.
Big businesses are worth about $1 billion. And that's part of their cash flow and other things. Big banks in Europe are worth about $1 billion. If they were 2 to 3 billion, that's plus their cash flow and assets and other things. Now, Amadou Samba himself told us that he was Jammeh's business manager. And remember, when Janneh, before he leaves, he wanted to speak to Amadou Samba. Amadou refused. One. And now, 1 billion cannot be all Amadou's. Because there's a lot of things Yahya was doing. You know, the Janneh Commission, what did expose? Janneh Commission only exposed monies that came through for the Gambia, monies that came from Social Security, monies that, just the thing it exposed. Did the Janneh Commission expose how much Yahya got from selling weapons?
No.
Because he was, it's a fact, he was facilitating, he was part with Victor Bout, selling arms to rebels in Liberia, in Ivory Coast, in South Sudan. It's online, if people Google that. An Eastern European guy who was living in Spain was using Gambian, many.
But then we have the shipment of weapons that were seized in Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Heading to Gambia.
Anyway. He was selling weapons like nobody. He was involved. He was involved in the narco trade. I'll tell you that for sure. He was many. Did we see any proceeds from narco trade? No, we have seen no proceeds from this thing. Do we know that he was involved with Abacha? Do we know the proceeds from Abacha's deal? And all this money is ours because he was doing it while he was president. Ill-gotten gains, we can get it from him. From Abacha, we know that he was dealing with before Abacha. He was dealing with Mobutu Sese Seko. We know that he was dealing with Babanding funding Sissoho. Babanding worth was about $3 billion. Everything vanished. And Yaya have part of that. You see? Now, all this put together and all the things that he involved in. Why this government, after 5 years, 6 years, are not even talking about, let's chase this money. Ebrima, if you understand how simple this is, the government don't need capacity. All they do is contract a company that you do. Probably all your expense would be to the time you draw out the contract. You don't pay anything for it. They go and get the money. Any money they get a percentage from it. That's their specialty. Nigeria is doing it. Every other country is doing it. Every other country is doing it. And Yaya would have been easier. Assets would be tracked everywhere else. The asset where Yaya lives in Equatorial Guinea, I'll tell you, whoever tell you that it's not his, is lying. It's Yaya owns that place in Equatorial Guinea. And most of these things, assets could have been recovered. Not only the $10 million in America. There are 2 properties in the United Kingdom here that we know of that can be linked to Yaya. You see, there are accounts in the Virgin Islands. There are accounts in the Caribbean. This guy have filthy rich money. That's the only reason the wife did not divorce him yet. You see, in Guinea-Conakry, even in Senegal, why are we not doing something about it? Now, if we manage to get $500 million, let's say even $300 million, would that not go far?
Definitely.
And now, exclusively, if you get that money, what I said that to sponsor cooperatives. Do you know why it's important to support those cooperatives? Go to the rural area and see how broken down these rural communities are. Now, you can bring the community together. There's nothing better than people to see that they have something, working towards something that they own. Now, for instance, I know Gunju is not rural, but we'll give an example on Gunju. Now, if there was a cooperative to deal with the value chain of the fisheries, and part of the money goes to develop, now you guys are struggling to develop your skill center. Part of the money from that cooperative would be going to the village or town development initiative. But it's already creating wealth for people within the cooperative, because cooperative is share ownership. And citizen can be, you guys can be here and invest in those cooperatives. You see, you'll be motivated to do that, not because of you are going to make profit, but that's a way to support your people even more sustainable. Agricultural farms. A cooperative can buy 3 tractors and everything else and work the land as a cooperative. Now, imagine, and the value, a lot of things can be done with that money. Skill centers can be built to ensure that from the proceeds of the profit, because when you in the cooperative, you can divide. The shareholders will have theirs, but the Gunjur, because of the state, would put in a seed money that is contributed in the name of Gunjur, and any dividend going to Gunjur would be managed by any community that is legally to manage the development funds for Gunjur. You see, in this manner, what it does is, you think people in that cooperative, if it's built right, you think they will see tribe among themselves?
No, no, no.
You think they will have any? You don't think they want that thing to work because
Definitely.
it's not owned by anybody else. This is ours. They know that if the cooperative did not perform, their income is going to go down. They know that their skill centers would not work. They send their children. You see, it give ownership. When you give ownership to people, their own development, you empower them. And when you empower them, you liberate them. When you liberate them, they have their children. Then they will choose the right MP. Not based on tribe, not based on political party, nor anything else, but the MP that will, because of they are progressive, because you help them to understand, to be conscious, to be progressive, they think progressive, then our governance would advance. This is how we liberate people. But look at the other coin, side of the coin. In many cases, in order to control the people, what do government do? They make the people poor, and government to be the only. Even businesses would have to rely on government to be in business. Now, if you go against government, you're not in business. If you have employment, even in the private sector, if you are vocal, you will be able to lose your job because they will put pressure on that company employing you to sack you. You see, and everybody else, any donation given will be coming to government. Government have power, but if you take those powers from government and make sure the people are not poor to the level, we cannot we can even eradicate poverty if we are committed to it. But if we reduce the dependency and give dignity to the people, and what they do is developing the country. Every corner of the country, something will be going up there, and they will realize that this is money deprived from the theft of a president. Now every president that comes, they will be watching you, knowing that if you steal something, you are stealing from them. Because most people will tell you they believe that the Ebrima was rich because of he worked very hard. They tell no, he got the shops. It was this. They don't understand how he went out to do these things. But if you go through the legal route and get all this money and give them back their money, you think they will not care about politics?
No, they will. They will. Ben, I'm coming to come to you and say greetings to our people and those who are watching all over the world. Our Ture Kinte, my own wife, and Moro Kamara. Thank you all for being there, and my own sister Fatou Cisse. Greetings to Ibi and Mr. Ben Suwareh. We want you to share these programs, because we need to be educated. We need to be informed. We cannot be, just being sheepishly following these politicians, and they are destroying everything. People are dying because there's no medications in hospitals. Get sick, you go to hospital, it will be a dead bed for you. Even no matter how, wherever you are, you think you are safe. Your mothers, your families, myriad of your extended families are suffering, and this is man-made. This is inefficiency. This is corruption. These are people who deliberately doing this and aggregating all our wealth, our taxes and all those things together to enrich themselves to the detriment of our country. So that's why we need to be informed, Ben. I think people should not just, wave away that this is social media thing and all the, yes, there's a lot of things happening in social media, but there's fantastic programs that we can educate them. Now ignorance is a choice, now. If you know anything, if you want to know anything about the Gambia, even before you're born, you can just easily dict. You can just easily ask the question and somebody will tell you everything. So let's get informed so that we are not bamboozled by these corrupt people. The Gambia is degenerating on a daily basis because there's no accountability. Ben, as you said, and my uncle Tijan Ture also said, greeting to Ben from Stockholm. In this very educative program. I hope Gambians are listening. Thank you, Ben. Ben, we saw the Malawian president. He come with momentum, and he stripped his deputy president, the IGPs, and then he locked people for corruptions and all those things. And then there's still the chink of light coming from that area in Africa. But what you are saying now, Ben, this is very serious. If our leaders are deliberately making people poor, so that people can just be, picking up crumbs, after them, deliberately so that they can control businesses. Even though we said businesses are, the small businesses, the private sector is the engine of growth and all those. They didn't mean any of this. They want to control anything. That's why we are seeing our business people cringing and crunging after the dining and whining with the leadership, because they want like contracts from them, government contract. Everything is about government and government and government. Nothing seems to be working. So this is so important, so that the young people and ourselves need to get ourselves awakened, because these leaders, they are bent on just suppressing the country. Nothing seems to be working in that country. Then quickly, before we come to the brutality of the police, we saw what they're doing to the Koro sisters' families and all those in the Freda Gomez, and we are saying Aissatou Fati or Aissa Fati's case, and business people just kind of the jungle life in the Gambia, taking advantage of people just because they are close. And the saddest thing, all of these has so connection to state house. But before we come to that, Ben, this 500,000, or 500 million or 50 million that was given to Gambia for the victims, we need to explore this. People don't even know this, and they are not. I've seen nobody talking about this other than you. Go ahead and shed some light, and we can move to.
Ebrima, you see, this is where it becomes ridiculous. I sit here, and I had a pic of something, a statement that the Minister of Justice made in Parliament, and I looked at, I said, something not right here. He was asked a question, and he avoided the question and went to talk about something very similar to the question answer, but not realizing that he have opened a can of worms. But he knows what he was doing, because he got away with it there. Because what he was asked was, can the Minister of Justice just take proceeds of Janneh this thing and use it without Parliament coming to Parliament to this thing? And he did not touch on that. He went on and talked about 50 million was given by Senegal. And that 50 million, we decided to put it in an account and took 50 million from Janneh's proceeds and give it to the victims. Now, when I heard that, I said, no, this is not right. I listened again, and is what he said. I said, these 50 millions, they are not like for like. Now, if Senegal give you 50 million for the victims, why not just go to the victims and say that 50 million is given by Senegal? And if you want to give the victims another 50 million, give them another 50 million. Now, where is the 50 million? Now, it's gone. And when I kept going about until the white paper came out, and still the 50 million is not on the white paper, I agitated. And Batembe to send someone to respond to me, because he tried different angle to speak to me. And I said one thing, I spoke to you through open source, go through the open source and respond. If you think you have nothing to decide, just go out there. He sent someone to, and they responded and accepted, yeah, it should be 100 million. Now, where's the 50 million? Now, you would think that the victim center will go and ask for the 50 million. We saw the video from BBC. Mr. Mbai, April 10, 11, is still suffering. He cannot even afford the therapy he required. People are donating. That's taking dignity. That's why I said reparation should be placed substantial. We have recovered almost $1 billion from Janneh proceeds. Where is the money? Our Gambians asking where's the $1 billion sold from Janneh assets in the Gambia. Apart from the 50 million given out, where's the rest of the 950 million? You see, but we are not asking about these things. Now, why should they give that young man $400 as reparation? That man should be, and the same thing, Solosan and family. That's why I say the verdict is one thing, it's a partial justice. Anything we can milk from Janneh should be milked from Janneh and given to the victims, and Gambia as at large, because Gambia at large are victims as well. But there are people that we can give substantial amount of money. The others can be put into cooperative and make sure it's managed by the people. You see, this is where the 50 million is.
Yeah.
It's
Then
better off now. I cannot do anything now. I've put it very clear to them. It's for them to go and ask for it.
yeah, this is so sad. There are people who are dying, people who died and they have been victims, people who are severely beaten and raped and they are disabled for the rest of their life. This young man, $400 when he's incapacitated, and the state cannot even take control of him. This man is
the statement from Bartambedo. The IMS, what they sold is almost $1 billion. Now, why is the government having problem of paying reparations? What are they waiting for? Are they going to put a begging bowl? Where's the money? Can any Gambian tell me where is that money?
And people are dying on a daily basis. Once you die, they forgot about you. Even if you are alive, they don't care about you. Moreover, when you die, your family and everything. So this is the way. The more this goes, and this government,
Nogonjai and others are suffering.
A lot of people are suffering. They went to Turkey here, and people have to, pass the hat round and support some of these people. It's just beyond me that Gambians are keeping quiet, and we are not making all this noise. And we that catapult us to Nene Freda, because the police are you've been investigating this, Ben. What is happening. The police to enforce the illegal orders. The courts, demand for them to be compensated about nearly 3 times, about nearly 500,000 or more between the two people, that has been, human rights has been violated, daylight. And there's, then tell us, because, and Gambians are finging on notice. Nobody, only few people, sympathize with what is happening. And this is happening all over across your land. Somebody will just come and punch on your land. Go ahead.
Let me put this very simple. I see Gambians coming out there from the Nene Freda and look, Nene Freda is representing he's a director representing the country on the company on the ground. The company obviously is an international company. One, it's not about Nene as an individual, as a former MP or politician or anything. This is about rule of law. Now, some people say, the company did not owe this, or the Yaya this. But let me tell you this. Why did the courts rule that is their lawful property? Now, Yaya gave them a land. At that time, they don't know. They said they went and applied. Sick. Yaya was given, that's how Yaya was operating. And they took the land for that reason. Yaya decided to take the land when he thinks that the land is lucrative. He was taking different land. Now, after this government came into power, not me saying it, the letters are there. This government invited this company again. You hear me?
Yes.
Invited this company, the government. If they are not the law, why do you invite them? Now, when they invited them, they asked this company to pay the arrears for the lease since it was taken from them.
Yeah.
Now these people paid, and this is how that's why the court judged in their favor. They paid all the arrears. Once you do that, you're giving them legal rights. Why did the government ask them to pay almost God knows how many money since Yaya Jammeh took the property from them? They paid that, but until someone wanted the land, and that someone became Abla Cham, someone with a very dodgy. Now, if the police are doing their job, Abla Cham should be find out where he gets his money from. Money laundering, everything he's involved in.
And who is this Abla Cham, Ben? Give us the historical.
Now,
yes.
This Abla Cham just came from nowhere from them and turned around to say he's going to build a hotel for 100 million. And now they're going to build the hotel for the OIC, and then they will use it for the OIC. And after the OIC, government will give him back the hotel. That's the agreement. Can you believe that?
Ah.
Now, but there's no OIC. There's no OIC that's going to happen in November that the hotel is going to be built for. Now where's the contract then? What is the contract sitting on? But let's give you a background of Ablaye Thiam. And this is not from Ben Swire, this is from Senegalese public records. You see, easy due diligence will tell you who he is. Ablaye Thiam was involved with Ablaye Wade, supporting Ablaye Wade. But by then, he wasn't even known for business or anything. Ablaye Wade left, he came and supported Macky Sall and became friend to Macky Sall's wife, the first lady. And Ablaye Thiam you cannot touch one specific business to say this is his business. Ablaye Thiam have given series of contracts by Macky Sall government without bidding, and he had failed to deliver on all those projects. One of these projects was an IT project. This thing he failed, and this was the Senegalese National Audit Office that found him wanting, and they went to trial, and the trial found him guilty. He's a criminal. There's another project that he put the foundation stone, never completed. Now, do you know why people do that? They are into something else.
Yeah.
He's not a businessman. Now, the same Ablaye, when this home land deal went on, and I saw the police doing something illegal. Look, if the government went to court and won this case, you think I would say that the government should not take it over? Government have right to repossess any property. But there's a process to that. And there's a determining factor. The determining factor is when I take the land from you, I am going to put it to the public need. There's a public need for it. Now, if we want to build a road here, me as an individual citizen cannot say the road cannot be built. Because of the interest of the nation or the public is far more than mine. And the government should compensate me to that market value and the road to be built. Now, but this is not the case. Do we have surplus of hotels? Do we have them filled?
No.
What's happened to the Scattred? It's empty there.
It's empty. It is empty, yeah.
And what? Do we have a need for these hotels? No. Tourism is dead. We try to revive tourism in another form. But no, it's about land. It's about deals. It's about a project. It's about trying to get money from other people. It's about laundering money. It's all what it's about. Nothing is going to happen. The guy would never build a hotel. He has never got a track record for building hotels. He has never got track record of nothing. Go and search him out. The guy lives in a private residence, an apartment in Senegal, not in a home with a family. I find out that. I can give you his personal address. I found out his personal address. He lives alone acting as a bachelor. You think that guy is a global businessman, a responsible person?
No.
Now, the Justice Department, they went to lower courts, the company won. They went to the high court, the company won. The government took them to the high court. The high courts ruled in favor of the company, saying that, look, it's already been decided in the high courts. Why didn't the government go to the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Or the appeal court, sorry. Or go to the Supreme Court to interpret whatever they want to interpret. But they doing something illegal again, repossessing the land without following the process. You know, why are the police, there's only a court order. The police ID can tell the government, look, it's a police court order, I cannot defy the courts. But why is he doing it? Again, a relationship with Ablaye Thiam. Now, when I was following this case, it led me to something else. You know, normally how I do my investigation, I put it here. I am not a magician. I just have a strategy. I put a message out there to say that I am going to investigate why the police are behaving like this. Because I suspected there's not only about political pressure, but there's something else behind it. Monitoring. Now, when I do that, I know in every department, I'll tell you that, every sector, since I have started my investigation, if I put something out there, people will come out and give me the information. It took less than 24 hours, the information came. And I looked at the files. I didn't copy it. I looked at the files from video. I ascertained that these are existing files. I have a conversation. I took my notes. I still have my notes in my table here of what transpired. I took my notes and I was surprised to say that, look, the there's a case. The guy said to me, "You are talking about this land." He said, "There's a more serious case." I said, "What?" He said, "There's a girl called Aisha Fati." I don't even know who Aisha Fati was. But I know when he explained the background, I know the family. And he said, there's this girl that they are maltreated, abusing her rights, and took her property because of fell out with Ablai Cham. They were in a relationship. The girl didn't want to marry to Ablai Cham. The girl now is with someone else. And Ablai Cham is angry. Now is going after the lady. But the police are going on false pretense, making allegations. One, they allege that the girl was into money laundering. This was not proven. They moved from that. They allege that the girl was extorting money from men. Again, we didn't prove. Finally, after my program, it forced something out. Now they come with the line of investigation, this thing. But again, let me put this to clarity. Within the police themselves, some of them within the investigation on the police did not actually know what was behind this investigation. When they thought the vehicles, the 2 vehicles they took from Aisha was stolen, and they sent the communique to Senegal, the Interpol, and asked them, "Can you verify about this assassin that these 2 vehicles are stolen?" And the guy Ablai Cham said, "Yeah, the vehicles are stolen from him. It's stolen from him." Guess what? Next minute, Ablai Cham realized that that's not gonna wash. Then they turned around and said that no, it's not stolen. It was it was taken from my company because I gave her the vehicles for my company. Those vehicles are executive vehicles. They are not company vehicles. And for a businessman, if you buy a car, would you be giving it to your girlfriend for your company? To Claire personally?
No.
Wouldn't the money come from business accounts? Would the vehicles not be Claire under company name?
Yes.
Yeah. Why would you give it to your girlfriend? And again, the girl had 2 vehicles before. This Ablai Cham was kind of jealous, that thinking or believing that someone else gave the vehicle to the girl, asked the girl to sell those vehicles and to replace it with his. And you can see this is about personal relationship, which I said I didn't even want to narrate that much because it would sound personal, but it's because of the abuse. Since April, when the police officer told me since April this case was under investigation, I said, what are they investigating here? There's no one that made an allegation here. The allegations are unfounded, are useless. You can see through them. Why did it take this long to continue? But now it have come out that Ablai Cham said that it's a company vehicle. This is the point now. It should be a civil matter. Police have nothing to do with it. But if the police are saying that they are investigating money laundering, then who did the money laundering? It's Ablai Cham.
It's Ablai Cham, yes.
Now let them go after Ablai Cham. Yes, if they ascertain that Ablai have done a money laundering, but if Ablai have gifted the money, if the girl took the money and used it for her personal use, the girl did not launder any money. It was gifted. The girl might not know the sources of the income. You see, this is, and it pains me a lot because I wore the uniform and I still respect the uniform. I respect the people in uniform. I know what they stood for, and the police should not be undermined. Law enforcement should not be undermined because without law enforcement, we are finished. That's why the rule of law should be respected. But if law enforcement officers are undermining the rule of law, they are disrupting the order.
And Ben, in the audacity of this Ablai Cham, an elderly man coming and being hooked to a young lady in her 20s, and these cars are from the factory directly. We had information directly from the factory and given to her. But this Ablai Cham, from Senegal, will not have the audacity to come to Gambia and do this without some power behind him. Yeah. And that is the President Barrow. And
thank you. No, you see, Ablai Cham mode of operation. The same way he is related. He came to Gambia because of Macky Sall. And this Ablai Cham, I have collaborated this because I know people around him. And they said, yeah, he went around saying this. He said that he gave Barrow $5 million, which I don't believe. But he said it. And he's sorry. He said Macky Sall gave Barrow $5 million. And he said he gave Barrow $1 million for the elections. I don't believe this, but I have my reasons for, but that's what he said. And he turned around to say that. And again, people said this is true because they have seen it. That the First Lady, he's very close to the First Lady, and to the extent that the First Lady called him daddy. As a father, daddy figure, daddy. And he said, and people said, yeah, First Lady do come and see him, do call to ask for money, and First Lady do not even send people to collect it, but will go and collect the money. Oh my God. This is the kind of relationship. And this is where it came out. That because of the First Lady and because of his money, now they are pressurizing certain people in the police, to do his dirty work and to abuse the rights of a citizen of the Gambia.
Ben, it's so good that you intervene, because I heard this from the Standard newspaper and say the police got forced to introduce a new line of inquiry about this case, because other inquiries they were maltreating this girl for a long time. And I will quote verbatim. They say, from the onset, the police never mentioned the name of the controversial Senegalese businessman having links to the case until his name got linked to the case by expose by the Open Gambia, which is your platform, the Open Gambia platform. This is the written by Isa Tamba, Standard newspaper. So that collaborate, that really tell us some of the things, if we put these people accountable, unless we are lazy as a people, if not these people, for some reason, nobody want to be same and name and all those things. No. Then there was a time also they thought, the girl is kind of having a nude picture. That's what they allege, having a nude picture of this businessman, and he's just kind of using that to extort money from him and all those things.
There's no evidence to that.
And if you don't intervene, this girl's case will be hidden, and she will really going to lose all these things and her dignity.
It's been going on since April. It's been going on since April. The only reason I know, because of this, the company, Nenech's company, and the land issue. That's the only reason I know, because I was going after Ablai Cham and the money. That's the only reason I know. You see, I keep on telling Gambians, if you want to find out facts, you have to look for a perspective which is open. Different. You cannot just look at it straight from someone told me. That's not enough. I don't just go by because someone told me something. That's where my investigation will start. I have to evaluate that information to see whether it merits to be chased. Yeah.
And where is the outrage, from the feminists, from the activists, all over the place. It was Korosi's sister. Their land has been forcefully been tampered by somebody, and they are appealing. They can fight for themselves. And this Isa also can probably find a lawyer, because he has the connection and the family and all those things to fight for her case. But people like ordinary people that has been trampled by powerful people all over the place. So this is not about Isa. This is not about Ben don't have time.
No,
rule of law. Go ahead.
The sad thing is, if it was allowed, if you go to Mile 2, go to the Remind Wing and see how full that place is by they are extending youths or people from very poor background. Have you ever had a Gambian from a prominent family been arrested?
No.
Look at the cocaine case at the London Bridge. People forget about that now. But look at all the names on there. They were not even put into cells for one day. Can you believe that?
Definitely.
An allegation.
And the Gamtet roll saga, is now been watered out. Nobody is hearing it. And the Gambians are the amount of money, tons and tons of money that can be pumped into our hospitals. And this made me laugh. I think somebody was kind of talking about Kausu Damfa. He said, over 10 hours in darkness. I wonder what could be the topic of excuse by the global storyteller, that is Nawek. Even the generators, engines, cables, and poles are sad on how they are constantly framed faulty all the time. I hope this time around they will not blame the ozone current or waves of manufacturing their connected cables. People are frustrated. This money that has been
how many months ago? How many months ago did Barrow came out to say that they bought now they have 50 megawatts from Senegal? Everything is going to be is only he said it was synchronization, and I said it's not true.
Yeah,
am I not vindicated?
Yeah, you are.
He said matter of days, synchronization, everything will be solved.
Absolutely.
Now they're talking about another 20 megawatts of this thing. Look, this thing would not be solved. I said Barrow is the problem. Barrow is not the only problem, but he's the head of the state. If that's, it's rotten. The corruption in that country, you see, all this corruption will find you to State House. All this corruption, the Gambia Petroleum have its roots at State House. Ablai Cham, State House. Nawek, State House. Everything is from State House. And the OIC, State House. But he will turn around to want to blame other people. But why does he not arrest them? Why does he not prosecute them? They will not never. They will never.
Yeah. But and the throwing of sands into people's eye, the president will come and pretend that everything is working, and I will come to that because he visited the OIC buildings, structure, the so-called, and Karamba Toure lambasted here and analyzed this very well. He said, by his own account, he is happy that the VIP lounge at the airport is ahead of schedule for completion. But he lamented the highways the VIP are supposed to use once they land at the airport are only 1%. Citing the fact that this should be in November. He said the luxury hotel intended to lodge the huge delegation expected for the events are yet to be constructed. Now, that's what they know. And the conference is scheduled for November of this year. How is it humanly possible to construct a Class A motorway that is costing $1 million US per kilometer? That is only possible. That is 1% done, expected to be complete in 5 months remaining. It's almost impossible. And Barrow said he's going to, it is impossible to accomplish. But President Barrow said he will convene the stakeholders at his office today, that is today, Friday, at 12:30, to work out a solution. What solution are you going to work out? So these are Gambians are not listening. OIC is dead. It's not going to happen. But before coming back to you, Ben is going to be saying hi to Lamin Jadama. He say absolutely. He's agreeing on whatever you are saying. This analysis, Ben, and some people will say they are always after the government and all those things. When Barrow was not there, it was about Yaya Jammeh and everybody, including Barrow himself, concentrating on Yaya Jammeh. The purpose is not Yaya Jammeh per se. The purpose is the Gambia's household money is given to Yaya Jammeh so that people's life can be better. And now Barrow has put that hat on, the thinking cap, so that he can solve the problem, the myriad of problems that are happening in the Gambia. People are paying taxes. A lot of money are being taken as loans on our name, and they are being squandered. People are dying because there is no cure in that hospital now. The moment you step in, people put their hands on their head because the next day, the man or the woman come back in body bags. The next thing is people just go to give birth to life for the continuation of Gambia, and they come out dead, mother, child, on a daily basis. And we are not alarmed as those. Barrow has the power. He has the constitutional right. The money, the household money of the Gambia is all for him to manage so that we can have a better life. Ben, this UK government, no matter how you disagree with them, the institution, they just disposed. The money went into people's account yesterday. The people who are deprived, the 326 went into people just to giving you a token, even if it's not going to do much to you. But what is this government doing? The little money that is coming, they just squander it. They just mismanage it. Gambia is deteriorating on a daily basis. There's more people dying in traffic. The more you hit and you go to hospital, nothing is there. So this is why we are analyzing the government. The political parties, They don't have the household money, the
They don't have
country
enough.
money to spend to
No.
that. We don't pay the oppositions. We don't, so we cannot. We have to put them accountable because they are vying to come into political space, to rule the government. But the Gambian government is UK, the Sado government is being paid by taxpayers' money, not in that place, and they have no role at all other than to hold the government accountable, which they are not doing. Unfortunately, once election is over, our politicians are dead. They go to sleep. They hibernate. Nobody put pressure on the government. This is why the place is filthy of mess, the filthy of corruption, and the failure, the inefficiency and institutional failure, and the U-turns, and doing nothing. Today, the president is in Jambanjeli, because there is a mosque, whatever. I say, they don't have anything to do other than to ferry them, to drive them with high-powered delegation, with very, very expensive cars, to go and open mosques, to go and do anything, just to do anything for the sake of popularity, and populism. These things just annoy you, to the extent that you cannot just understand. This country needs to develop,
Yes.
and it can. Because we have population can be our disadvantage, but it can be a huge, huge advantage for us to make things happen in that country. Ben, but this corruption and inefficiency and the level of poverty, you can use this for people to be crawling over on you, but it can also be a negative to leaders, because we are seeing this destabilization in especially ECOWAS regions. Nigeria is destabilized. There's a lot of crime now. There's a lot of gun attacks that went out of control. Ivory Coast, the same thing. You can count them down. I think, the only place that you can confidently say is kind of stable is Ghana, probably in Rwanda. Senegal, yes, the institutions are there that are strong. But the political leader want to disrupt everything. And these are all threat to Gambia. We can juxtapose this to Asian countries. That's Sri Lanka, what is happening there. So these things sometimes, they come and boomerang on you. They will come and hunt you. And this is not going to hunt only Barrow, because Yaya Jammeh, wherever he is, how much rich he is, he want to come and sit in the Gambia, and he will never, probably for the rest of his life. And this will going to also hunt any leader that didn't deliver. And because of that, Gambia get into destabilization, and the consequence will be all of us. Go ahead, Ben, and analyze the security issues around the ECOWAS.
Let me touch on the OIC first.
Go ahead.
I don't like to say that I'm vindicated. I'd rather not be vindicated. But the reason is why I insist on this. And in many cases, people would say, oh, he doesn't like the government, he just this. But there's nothing. And I credit that to Allah and my daily. There's nothing I've ever raised and found to be wanted that or did not come to light. Because I base it on information. You see, if you knew our history, you see the Banjul Sekunda Road. Do you know that road have been built twice? The road in 1979 was given to Luis Diaz, a Spanish company. Well, you know what Luis Diaz did? Summers. You know what they did? The people at the Ministry of Finance and Works that were holding this contract, he went and built houses for them before building the roads. Guess what happened? He ended up not building the road. Then 1982, MC Cham became the works minister, but he failed to follow the due diligence necessary to break the contract. He went and broke the contract. And Luis Diaz's lawyer was far from by and took the case to the tribunals. Again, government lose the case because they broke the contract without following the due process. That contract was then given to CSE, the Senegalese company, to build the roads. It's as Gambia has spent twice of building the same road. That's history. Now, the importance of that history is this is what is happening here now. Barrow is pretending that he doesn't know what the problem is. Barrow is the problem. Do you know why? Remember, Nyang Jai and Lamin Sane resigned from OIC. And do you know one of the reasons why they resigned? And what I'm saying here, Ahmad Ba was present, Barrow was present, Mambure was present, Tangara was present. They wanted the contracts to be given to certain people. And Lamin Sane disagreed. And Lamin Sane, let's follow this process. Let's do a I've already in fact done a classifications and so on and so on. So this is the way we're going to do it, and these contracts will go in this way. When Lamin realized that they're trying to force him to do that, he resigned and left, and Nyang'Diaye resigned too. Now, they decided now to bring in people who are incompetent to run the OIC. I mean, Esa Bukarisi is my brother, but I'll tell you, he doesn't have the competence to be anywhere near this OIC. In fact, to be the deputy thing. The guy up there, I forgot his name, he'd have no competence to be around the OIC. These are kind of projects that are very complex. It needs someone with the kind of experience around them. Now, not only that, they interfered. Lamin Diop and decided, and Barrow to do their deals by giving contracts to people they listen. I'll give you two companies. One company is called Pavifort, Pavifort. Pavifort is a Sierra Leonean company. Yeah? Pavifort is in partnership, joint venture with a company called Gambisara. Nobody can tell you who owns Gambisara. But I can tell you one thing, Gambisara is linked to Adama Barrow. You see, this corruption. Now they decided to give these businesses to these contracts to some of these companies that don't have capacity to deliver. And because of these companies gave out bribes, kickbacks. Now, if I give out kickbacks, if you give me my first mobilization money, what happened? I go and return the money to where it came from.
Yes.
People don't have enough money, cash flow to give that much. Now, after the government now expected for these people to deliver, but these people don't have the money to deliver. This is what is causing the delay. They are expecting the other money to come in time to start. And if this continues, the inflation in the country, the contract will not finish. This is the same thing that happened with the Banyan Road, with Louis Dias. That's why I said history is important. You see? Now, this road, now Barrow is saying, I'm going to talk to the stakeholder. What is he going to tell them? They know that they gave him a bribe. They know that it's only because of that bribe they have the contract. You think these people, Barrow can force them to do anything?
No, he can't.
You think Barrow can just go and break the contract? If he breaks the contract, again, precedents. What happened to Louis Dias and Gambia government through MC Cham just breaking the contract? What happened? They'll go and ask for their money because you broke the contract without due diligence. And Barrow himself said that 1% is done.
Yes.
Even that's even not true. Grand preparation is nothing is done. And when a few weeks ago, I raised this point. Guess what? When the rains, some people say, no, I'm just looking at the bad side, putting out the bad side. Am I not vindicated?
Yes.
Barrow himself. Now, this is the reason Gambia getting bankrupt. Because of Barrow is taking part of the corruption. Lamin Diop, when a few months ago, I raised this thing, Lamin Diop, a minister, he went and made a post to try to debunk what I said. Now Barrow came and said that this is happening. Yeah. I knew this about a month ago when the new Minister of Work, Silla, went and did the tour. He found out. Barrow knew then that things are not progressing. What they're doing is just running things around, moving soil from here to there. Nothing, absolutely. They don't have the money to mobilize, to bring the equipments, to do the other things, because they have paid the money paid to them by government. They have paid that to the bribes. They're taking the interest, service the interest, and so on. They are not big companies. They don't have it. Let's Gambian find out who owns Gambisara company and find out that Gambisara company will not be associated to Barrow or so. Gambisara company never existed before this contract was signed. They have never built a meter of road. Why give them a contract?
Definitely.
Because of Barrow. You find out that he's associated with the person. Probably he even owned the company. This is fair. Now, we come to security. Let me give an example. You know what happened in Libya? When Libya disintegrated, what happened? We saw what happened in Sub-Sahara.
Yes.
Saharan country. The proliferation of weapons, jihadists, and everything else. Now we have that problem. Yeah? But countries that are most likely to be affected are countries that did not have institutions, strong institutions. Countries that already have existing problems of unemployment, already have problem with lack of social cohesion. You see, all these things, that's why I say poverty, it's a crime. It's of its own. And Nigeria, this is why Nigeria is affected by that. But now, if we Gambians understand how much Nigeria contributes to West Africa peace building, stabilization, I mean, in most cases, when economic was going on, it was at the back of Nigeria. In Liberia, in Sierra Leone, and so on. Right now, yes, Senegal is the one holding economic in the Gambia. But again, if Nigeria is destabilized, it's going to affect our security a lot. A lot. Okay. Now, why is Nigeria vulnerable? Corruption, mainly. And this corruption started again by politicians using the youths. In the northern Nigeria, they went and used the youths, and they used to give them weapons to do what? To fight for their parties, to intimidate, to harass, to subdue the votes, vote suppression. Those youths end up become jihadists. And obviously, they grow and have influence, and now they have weapons from all over the place. In the south, Niger Delta, what they used to do is go break pipelines, steal oil, and stuff like that. But when politicians started to buy AK-47 to give it to them, for the same reason, guess what? Now, they turn the weapons around. Go what? Kidnapping. You know now, the amount of kidnapping happened in Nigeria, according to reports, security reports, 80% of the kidnapping are not to do with jihadists, are to deal with ransom collection, not by jihadists. But who? Most of them who were jihadists before. Now they realize that, why am I a jihadist? I can easily go and kidnap and make millions. Now it's lucrative. The security is non-functional. Now the jihadists can take over prisons, hold on prisons for 4 or 5 hours, and walk away with their comrades. The jihadists now are ambushing the president.
Yes.
You see, the president could have been killed there.
Yes.
It could have caused a constitutional crisis. Yes, people said, oh, there's a succession planning, but we know that, look, that country is fragile. They are trying to replace. You see, it's going to bring another thing, and Gambia will be affected. And not only Gambia, but West Africa today, as you said, it's Ghana and Senegal. And you see, Ghana is going through a recession. Now they're looking for bailout. Senegal is going through a political turmoil. We don't know where it's going to last. Yeah, they got the security, they got a lot of things to help. They got a civil society which is very active. They have a opposition which is very vibrant. They have a civil intelligentsia who are very aware. They have a religious intelligentsia that they all play a role in stabilizing the country. And their army are professional to a level. Gendarmerie are professional to a level, but they still have rogo people. Doing the government bidding. What is going to end up with? We have hope that it's not going to be out of hands, but you cannot discount it completely. Now, wherever is when we country is safe now, not Guinea-Bissau. Mm-hmm. They just asked for reinforcement. Now they got ECOMOG there. Now it's not Guinea-Conakry. We know it's already gone to this. It's not Mali. It's not Burkina Faso, and so on.
Niger and all those.
There's no other country there.
Mm.
You see, then you should ask ourselves. A national security advisor should ask the president. Tell the president what to do. Tell them this is our condition now. This is what we should do. And I'll tell you, it's only an effective governance that will bring it out. Not amount of soldiers, not weapons. It's to govern right. But this government cannot. It's a matter of time. What they're doing is not sustainable. I give you an example here. again, the Barrow have realized this. All this move to get Dabo and UDP to support him, and no, he knows that if he doesn't have the support, natural support in the country, and anything breaks out here, is the people are against him. And you know, when the people comes out, economic cannot or dare not kill the Gambian people in order to protect Barrow. What they will do is to take Barrow and run with him, just as it is happening in Sri Lanka. And do you know the similarity of Sri Lanka to the Gambia? Okay, Sri Lanka, politics was kind of like a dynasty.
Yes.
And it's tribal. The Singhalese and the Tamils and so on. But mainly the Tamils and the Singhalese. And the Singhalese have two political parties which are the most vibrant. And the Tamils are out there. They went through a civil war. They got massacred and everything else. Now, if the Tamil have led an uprising, it will fail. Because the Singhalese would have to fight.
They will unite together, yes.
Yeah. But you see, the party in government was a dynasty. The brother was a president, the other brother was a prime minister, other one the defense. They are everywhere.
And finance, yes.
And they got away with it for so long because of the divided. Just as Gambia today, most of the reason is we are divided. If Ben Suwareh called up for something today, they will start to question whose Ben interest is, or is it the Fullers, or even no, Ben is with the Bakau Mafia, or Ben is with this. If you call up today, they might label you as UDP, or why would I go? He's UDP, he's a UDC. I mean, someone else might be GDC, or it's something else. But it comes a time that things went wrong, and Gambia is teaching to that. Gambia is 85% borrowed debt, and most of this debt is taken during Barrow time. Barrow took more money that any other government have ever taken before him. Which is this 5 years, he took more money that we taken, Jawara have taken, and Barrow have, Janneh have taken as loan. And where is it? All political projects. From the Banyan project, we all know was a scam. Hakalang is a scam. Every other project he signed is a scam because of the people he signed it with. And it was for political purposes. And we said this, it's wrong to borrow to do political projects. And it's wrong to borrow and do it in a dodgy way, in fact, because it's not delivered. Where are these roads? Where's the Hakalang road? Where are all these other roads? They are non-existent. Where are these bridges? They are non-existent. Where is the COVID funds we know did not go to where it should go? Now, 85%. Is that sustainable to be paid?
No.
We are not generating income anymore. Now, GRA is not delivering what should do. You see, they went out and point out to a guy that said that he's doing this. Why didn't they not prosecute him? They will not prosecute him because of that will open up a can of worms. They will open a can of worms because there many people in senior positions of GRA or in many positions in GRA are doing the same. Go and look at how many wives they've married or what, if they are women, what lifestyle they lead. Go and find out. That tell you they cannot own this money. Go to Port Authority, it's the same thing. Every institution in the country is bankrupt. Now, 85% of this, and this is likely to happen. When the people get in Sri Lanka, they're tired. Inflation gone. They cannot even import anymore. Nobody can trust them. They cannot even borrow. And there was no tribe in it because there's no tribe for a market. There's no tribe for services. You cannot say, oh, this service is here for Mandinkas or Fullers or Jolas. You cannot say this is for this, I mean, this market is for Fullers or Jola, or it's for UDP, PPP, or NPP, or whatever. We all go to the same markets, we all receive the same services, and the insecurity of the country affect all of us. They don't go on targeting people based on tribe or political party. You see, then the people would get united. Gambians, I know, hey, Gambia would not. That's a lie. And I'll give you the history of this. That's a lie. Matter of time. Then Sri Lanka, this is what happened. They started to demonstrate. They have no fear anymore. They have no life. They have no hope. People who can flee have started fleeing already. But who cannot? What else have you got to lose? You are getting hungry. They went for the palace. And most of these people are Singhalese. Most of the people voted for that government. It's the same as when it happened in Gambia. It's not going to be UDP or GDC or PDIS or anybody else. Would be Gambians, would be NPP, would be everybody else. You think NPP who voted for Barrow today are happy?
No.
You think they are better off in the Gambia?
No.
They are disappointed. They are disappointed. Be the people who campaigned for him, be the people that voted for him, they are disappointed. Now, I give you something. Gambia, remember, in the 70s, go and look at the history. What happened in 77, 78? Approaching to 1981, what happened? 1981 happened. Because of what? Something was going wrong in the Gambia already. Then you have an external shock that makes it happen. Remember, in 1981, before Gambia, what happened? 1980, Liberia, and Gambia happened. Then we come to in late 80s. We have the bankruptcy of Commercial Bank, Agricultural Development Bank, NTC, the Cooperative Union and everything else. And every time you hear bombshell, 10 custom officers, driven out and everything else. No prosecution. What didn't we have 1994? Did Gambians think that Gambians will not do that? And from 1994, there was no 3 good years that Gambians did not get up one way or the other to challenge Janneh. Didn't we not?
Yes.
Now,
We did.
who said that Gambians would not get up? I think we have not. We have a very big threshold. I think we have not hit that yet. But if politicians were smart, they would have done the right thing. But they cannot. Barrow have gone with his people to point of no return. The amount of corruption Barrow have involved himself now and everything, he will try to. He's done. Barrow is finished. Because what he will try is not possible. He wants to stay there forever for people to forget. It's impossible. And things are not going to get better. Look at what the vice president said. Have you seen any actions? Nothing.
No action, Ben. And now he's having a big convoy, that is disrupting traffic and all those things, and people are start complaining. Even though, because we want such leaders to come and speak the truth about the condition in the country. But the vice president was there for 5 years as high education minister, and high education is one of the most retrogressive department, until this new guy comes, and we'll give him the benefit of doubt. Madiba Toure, thank you. It's a good program, brother Ibrahim. Ben saying about the politicians now, because Barrow has failed, and the only way he can turn around, he don't want to do that. He cannot do that because he is mired in corruption and all kind of inefficiency, to the extent that, anytime people say this, they think we are against the government. Ben, this is a disclaimer. We want that country to succeed.
Definitely.
Because collectively we will put our heads high. When we overthrow Janneh, everybody was talking about the Gambia. The transition has been peaceful, even though some stands-up happens and the dictatorship has collapsed, falling down, and there's no war in the Gambia. We are all happy. Everybody, even the Guardian newspaper that I read continuously, feature about Gambia, talk about our president. Everybody is happy because that's where our investments are, most of us, because that's where we can afford our investments. That's where our families are. Anytime you touch into that red sand in the Gambia, the joy, the happiness, the feeling that comes over you, you cannot get it anywhere in the world, no matter how you live there, in the paradise or whatever. So all we want is for our leaders to get it right. And it's only our leaders that can get this right, nobody else. Nobody else. It is the leaders. That's why we talk about them. But he fell spectacularly to the extent that now he's just want to cajole the oppositions.
Yeah.
Mama Kande want to see Barrow for some reason. My party now completely has slough of his clothes, and he has swimmed into the pool of power, and he don't want to hide about it. All the other leaders who are there, the Fatumata Tambajans and all those things, and now the UDP, and we have information that some people in UDP want Barrow and Dabo to come together, so called for the sake of the country. But we need to have a good opposition for that country to go.
And I'll tell you one thing.
Go ahead.
Do you know one of the reasons for Alkali Conte? What is on a Siaka Jata?
Yes.
and others.
Fabu Sane is in Jide.
To be moved away from State House.
Go ahead, Ben.
One of the reasons to appease UDP, because they believe that these are the people that can be blamed for breaking. You see, Barrow was always look for a fall guy. Or these are the satanists. These are the people that did this. These are the people that did that. You see, that's what he's trying to do. He's going for the charm offensive. Yes, and I tell you, if anyone in UDP would say that they believe in Barrow disease is good, they're lying. They are lining up for themselves. And any day that UDP decided to say that they're having that so-called reconciliation and some seats given to them in cabinet or minister and these things, that's the end of UDP. That's the end of UDP. And that's what Barrow wants. You see, Barrow have realized something. You know, I told you the security analyst the last time about why even he chose the vice president, the person who he chose. Now, Barrow did not have what he expected from the parliamentary elections. Now, Barrow have realized that UDP strongholds are still intact. And I've tried everything. And these people that came to make me believe that I can gain the stronghold of UDP have lied to me. I did not do that. Now, they have no use for me. Alkali Cortez and all these people that came from UDP, they have no use because technically they lost every constituency that they need to win. Now, what else? He have realized that he have dismantled the APRC. APRC cannot be anymore. That's why you see that the last resemblance of APRC are all given positions. Now APRC will be normal. Now, who else would be here? Mama Kande is affected. That's why he doesn't want to see Mama Kande, because GDC is this only constituency he have is GDC.
Yeah, Barrow refused to see Mama Kande. That's strange, Ben. You know.
No, because he doesn't need him.
Yes.
He don't need him. What he needs now is UDP grassroots. Now, if the UDP executive miscalculate and goes in, I know UDP members that would never settle with that, because everything that happened was in Barrow's hands. Any disrespect, anything else is Barrow's hands. And if some UDP decide to go for it, now what can UDP turn around to tell Gambians? What can they tell Gambians? Let them just go and enjoy the gravy train until the train grind to a halt. But they cannot tell us they're going there for the interest of the nation or anything else. Because we know, that's why I said about the vice president that I cannot see him deliver, but then hence he put a table out, let's support him to put that table. But he fell because of the amount of corruption in that country, in that government already the government is gone.
Yeah, it is overwhelming. Then I think we're going to wrap up because it's very, very, very near to Maghrib, and I don't want you to go beyond the time that we have already done. And it's so sad once again. Just to recap, it's all about the Gambia, and today, the bulk of Gambian problem is the government. Any other thing also that is there beyond their remit, it is only the government that can sort that out. Nobody can solve that out without the cooperation or the support or the leadership of the government, because they have the constitutional right, they have the control of the finance, they have the control of the media and everything in that country to save the trajectory of our country. That's why we need to hold them accountable. If you cannot do anything, don't just sit down and justify what is going on in the country. If countries like UK are going after Boris Johnson, just imagine a platform, an environment of UK in the Gambia with Boris Johnson. We will just leave him. We will just even make him the king.
That's what they have.
Exactly. So why are we so easily satisfied? We all know nothing is working. The rural area is dismantled completely, Ben. Next time we are going to talk, because I was reading the programs that the PPP government lay in order to stop the urban the rural urban migration and the diversified developments. We have the Jahal Pachars and many other things, some of the colleges and all those in the rural. They tried, but now that has catastrophically failed and there's nothing there. Everything is everywhere is living and come to combo.
Let me just come to that quickly.
Yes.
Can you remember? Just look at this. There's nothing that Yaya Jammeh have created
No.
that you can say that is the backbone is going to support the economy.
No.
And borrow the same thing. And imagine this: the central bank we talk about that Yaya Jammeh have dismantled. Who built it was the PPP, isn't it?
Yes.
The Social Security, who built it? PPP. You see, what else?
All the roads,
the port
they
authority.
set them around. These people are just managing their maintenance in the
ports,
roads.
The ports authority. You see, without these things, you couldn't have done anything else. You would not have able to take loans. It's easy to take loans and build something. What is difficult is to have ideas, plow those ideas into policy, take those policies to create an environment that the policies will flourish and things will happen. This is what they did with Social Security Housing Finance Corporation. This is what they did with Gambia Ports Authority. This is what they did owning. How many countries had their central bank in time? We had it before other countries.
And the brand Gambia, and the brand Gambia, that was priceless. That we created, that has been destroyed, all over the place. But
this is the reason why we need to teach history. We need to teach our history. We need to teach our history. And the most relevant history now is the comparative history of 1950 to 1994.
Ben, I have to stop here. It's getting 40 now, and so that we can go and pray. But next time, very soon, we will come here again and talk about these issues and educate each other, about some of the things. Not that we are saying PPP has succeeded and all those things. The oil issues and all those we are having today, PPP went through it, the structural adjustments and many things, the retrenching of the civil servant to a smaller government and the time where they are, but the brand they create should have catapulted Gambia to another level. Once again, thank you to all of you, Mr. Bajo Jawabana. Good to see you and everybody else who are watching all over the place. And once again, it's our brother Ben Ngunjur Online. Ben, thank you for dignifying us with your presence and helping us to understand issues, not from a biased position, but to see the Gambia so that we can come together and account each other, so that the rule of law and the marketplace of ideas can be present there, so that that country can develop. So that what is going on there, because it's not developing, it's retrogressing. We are more indebted today. Hospitals are more failed today. Electricity, everything, everything that you can take as an indication of progress is not working in that country. And that's so sad, and it's man-made. Thank you once again on behalf of Gunjur Online, and greetings to our boss and technical assistant Lamin Janneh and everybody on Gunjur Online. Ben, thank you. Until next time, and have a good night.